And we are live. I am the SMT. It is January 6th, 2022. I have guests with me today. We have Moose. We have Tyrone from the Tech Life channel. I welcome you, gents. Thanks for coming on and hanging out for a bit. We're going to be talking about all things wireless tonight. There is definitely a lot to discuss from each of the major carriers. It probably stretches across not just the entire industry, but I think also, we talk about home internet providers, wireless ISPs now, traditional mobility, fixed wireless access. Um, the carriers are looking to create new revenue streams. Things are starting to pick up pace in the industry. We got C-band and 5G and ultra wideband plans, value, network analysis. I mean, Tyrone, have you ever been busier on your channel than now?
No, and it's it's not going to slow down either. It's just going to keep coming and coming and coming. Eventually, we're going to have Dish announce what they're going to do. That's coming too.
Right.
Plans. Are they going retail? Are they going to stay eSIM? I mean, this is
All right, I'm back.
this is getting crazy.
It is. It's out of control. I love it. The chaos is good.
Chaos is good for the consumer, I'll tell you that much. The only risky thing is that the messages start to get confusing to customers, right? So every carrier has a very important process that they have to follow to make sure that they convey their message very carefully, right? So Verizon is going to make no mistakes about it. Premium mobility, home internet,
Yep.
value and entertainment. Nobody gives you more in those respects, right? And then AT&T, clearly a growth factor in wireless, all in on fiber, right? A big part of what they're going to do with their wireless and then, fiber to premises, right? And then T-Mobile, it's all about their fixed wireless access, their N41 5G leadership, their continued growth and mobility. They're still trying to work through the Sprint merger. These things are all pretty evident and clear, no doubt. I do see some people here in the live chat. I see EM Tech is in the house. Aaron P. Ashay Jarrett is here. Zeke, we got Nino Beats. Strike the like if you could. We got David H. We got Caesar. We got Joseph. Big Term is in the house. Zeke is in the house. Hometown Custom PC. My homie Big Lou. And then Info Assistant chimes in. Chaos is good for the consumer. Hey, why not? What's up, Noel? Vivian. Curtis, good to see you guys. Oh, and Dan, good to see you, Dan. Glad you could stop by tonight. Absolutely.
By the way, we got a chat here from Isaiah. Tyrone discovered something big earlier today in regards to AT&T's fixed wireless. Tyrone, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I think I think it's been out. It kind of caught me by surprise, but the fact that AT&T is as quiet as they've been, these past few months, it's to no surprise to me anymore. But they've actually been offering fixed wireless quietly in rural America. I had no idea that they were doing that. So their base price is $60 if you just get the internet, and if you bundle it with DirecTV, it's $130. So there's actual pricing, availability, where you could check availability. There's an actual website.
Appreciate you, Big Lou. Yeah, Tyrone, they've had the fixed wireless access, but it's been really limited, right, in availability. They haven't really looked to expand it in many places. Extremely regional, right, just in these little pockets. And I think it's just the fact that the infrastructure and the spectrum assets just aren't there, right? It's hard to do fixed wireless access without extreme dedication to upgrading those sites. Right?
Of course, yeah. I think one of the stipulations for AT&T, the site has to have band 30 on it. If it doesn't have band 30 on it, then they can't do fixed wireless for that area.
That makes total sense, right? You got an additional 10 megahertz of spectrum dedicated to the downstream. Do they do anything with uplink on band 30?
Yeah, I think they do.
Okay.
I think it's a 10 by 10, but it is. I think it's a little lower power because of the XM radio.
Or so you got to basically be within like a mile and a half.
Yeah, roughly around there.
Yeah, that's a
So,
tough sell. Yeah.
Steve, do you want to go down the list of the topics today?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's start with AT&T. What do you guys think?
Oh, Tyrone, go ahead, man.
Yeah, AT&T again. The quiet. They are the most quiet carrier out of all three. So I'm starting to wonder now if Verizon and T-Mobile going at it the way they're going at it. 5G this, C-band this, N41 this. I'm wondering if this is creating a lane for AT&T to keep growing the way that they've been growing. They are very quiet, very clear on their messaging. It's not something super confusing. It's just new and existing customers get the same deal. That's all they're pushing. That's it. They advertise that during the holidays, and Sneed has the numbers, but we've already seen the preliminary numbers. And again, biggest growth leading in the industry.
I'll run through some of those, Tyrone. 1.3 million total postpaid net adds, 880,000 postpaid phones. Those are the profitable ones, right? For the year, 3.2 million customers added, rivaling only T-Mobile, which I think came in at like 5.3 million, possibly. Okay. 270,000 fiber subscribers for the quarter. Total fiber net adds for the year, 1 million. Fourth consecutive year they've done that, so very consistent. I think the expectation is that ramps up a little bit this year with supply becoming less of an issue. As that alleviates, I think they can definitely do it. 2.6 million fiber customer locations. I think the projection was 2.5 million, so they met or exceeded that. HBO global, 74 million subscribers. So they have surpassed the goal of, I think, 70 to 73 million. I think by any metric, they pretty much hit everything, Tyrone.
And Sneed, one thing that we haven't forgot to mention, none of those are free lines.
No, there's no way we could forget about that, Moose. There are no free lines in those numbers, those preliminary numbers from AT&T. That is a profitable, healthy ARPU. Big shout out to Cesar Gonzalez. Thank you for the super chat. He said, "How's it going?" Appreciate it, man. Thank you. All is well. I'm glad you could be here, and thank you for that dono, and thanks for holding it down.
You know what I was going to say, Sneed, man? I know both you and Tyrone both were saying that there was massive supply shortages. It could have been even more if there was no shortages on phones.
I'd say you got to expect at least a 10% increase. Right? I mean, at least. Could they have really pushed the issue and gone over 1 million? They probably could have did that last quarter also. So yeah, I agree. I do agree. And then we got Big Lou saying AT&T moving in silence. I'd say that's pretty accurate. I mean, they're just not loud. No. Verizon's been pretty busy letting people know what's going on with the C-band situation. They've been pretty vocal. T-Mobile puts everything on a megaphone, So it's just they're just different, and it's good for them. It's how there's different strokes for different folks. I don't see a day where John Stanky is, rocking blue thongs or, going up there yucking it up with a bunch of people that he doesn't even know, It's
I don't see I don't see Stanky hosting an Ultra show.
No. Yeah, I think Hans is, trying to really bring to the attention of what Verizon's going to be doing, and I almost thought it was kind of taking a page out of the T-Mobile book, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, he was trying something new, and I like that they're trying something new. And I'm not doing the doubts on the Ultra show, because you know what? It's not some damn thongs and all this other ridiculous nonsense on TikTok. I even commented with you guys, right, on the group chat. It was a legit production. It really legit. It was high caliber, highly paid. These people were paid big money.
Okay? Big money.
It wasn't just one guy that they're paying $10-15 million to be on an advertisement. We're talking about legitimate use cases utilizing game developers, actors, small businesses, mid-sized, there was everything. And Sneed even said it on the group chat. every box was checked. Legit. Every box was checked.
Yeah. Big shout out to Gigi. Thank you for the super chat. She said, "Hey, Sneed, hope you and the family are well." Thank you. I appreciate it, and I wish you
see
all.
this? See what Sebi just said. It was boring, the Ultra show. God, unbelievable.
And thanks, Gigi. Appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know, man. My expectations for the Ultra show, it wasn't about the show for me. It's about what the show's bringing to the table. They ushered in upgraded plan, right? Or plans, I should say, features. They kind of ushered in this new capacitive network with these new use cases. They brought people, right? World famous actors and actresses to kind of convey the message, right? So they dumped a lot of money into it. There was a lot of planning, a lot of preparation. I don't know. I mean, if it's boring, that's fine. But did they get their message across? Was it effective?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I walked away thinking Verizon just built an ecosystem. Name one carrier that has built a 5G ecosystem.
Not one.
Did Hans build a 5G ecosystem?
Ultra.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Ultra branding. That's new.
Yep.
Ultra branding. So we have on the topic list, Sneed, the numbers, T-Mobile numbers as well. What do you think about those?
Let's take a look at those numbers, actually. What do we got, Tyrone? Was it 850 or something?
It was 1.8 total, 1.8 million total. Out of those 1.8 million, the most lucrative, they did 844,000 on the postpaid net adds, which is below AT&T. So they were not industry leading growth in that segment. So not far off from that, not far off from AT&T, given the fact that they do carry a higher churn on the Sprint base. They keep trying to downplay that base. They now own that base, so it doesn't make it okay that those customers are just leaving. It sounds like they're just giving them a high five, and they're letting go ahead and go wherever you want to go. That's what
So
it sounds like to me.
Tyrone, I think you and me are the only ones that view it that way. Like it's almost like they're content losing them. They won't fight for them right now. Does that mean they want to fight for them later? They're just watching them go.
Who knows, Sneed? But it's revenue walking out the door. I know the Sprint customer is not the biggest paying customer, or in terms of premium, but it's still revenue that you're letting walk out the door.
And they're going somewhere.
Going to AT&T.
Right.
Where they're going.
If you think about it, and I wish that Mike Sievert and these guys, I wish they would talk about it. T-Mobile is responsible partially for AT&T's growth. If it wasn't for T-Mobile hemorrhaging all these Sprint customers, what's AT&T's quarters? 650?
Mm-hmm. I mean, like I was saying a couple podcasts ago, Sneed, AT&T's growth is pretty much equatable to how many fiber net ads they do per quarter, because the amount of folks that are getting AT&T wireless once the fiber is installed is huge.
So it's converting, you're telling me.
Yeah. Huge. Just think about it like this. It's close to 95% conversion. As soon as somebody gets fiber, instantly they get wireless because of that 25% off. It's huge.
Yeah, and the product is good. The bundling with the discounts is good. People like that. You have options with entertainment, with HBO. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going to take people there. That'll convert those customers. And the penetration for the fiber product is really good. It increases every quarter.
It is. It's really good. It's really good. So I wanted to quickly, Sneed, I wanted to add some more context. And for those of you that have a pen and paper ready and want to do some math, I watched the city conference today. The CFO of T-Mobile presented. He stated that if the Sprint churn was at the churn levels of the Magenta base, they would have added 1.4 million postpaid net adds, up from the 844,000 that they added. If you want to do the math on how many Sprint customers are leaving the base.
That's a 5% churn rate.
Easily.
It's 4.5%.
Massive. It's massive, Sneed. And then, by the way, they didn't mention anything, right, Tyrone, on the hack on the last week of the year.
No, it wasn't talked about. The host did not ask not one single question about this data hack. And it wasn't even talked about.
Just to give you some perspective, some color, Sneed, on the hack. I spoke to some of my friends from both Verizon retail and from AT&T retail. They said that week was the busiest week of the month because of how many people from T-Mobile were switching. It was out of control. Like there was lines outside of the store, Sneak.
But if I remember correctly, that was December 27th.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Moose.
We won't see the effect of that until Q1 numbers.
Well, hold on a second, right? Do you think that AT&T only passed T-Mobile because of that? Look how close the numbers were, Tyrone.
I don't think so. It was too many. No. It was only 4 business days from the hack. Remember, we were live on air on Tuesday, December 27th.
Could 4 business days lead to 30 or 40,000 people?
It could, if every day was an average of 15,000 net gain.
Yeah, that's a high number. I still think the Sprint churn is what really took them over the edge, but the data hack most certainly helped. It didn't help them. I'm sure they lost a good amount of customers because of it. I mean, I got comments, you got comments, Sneed, people saying they're going to leave, and they likely did it during that time frame.
And I also have to mention this too, Sneed. Some folks, because they were ordering Samsung or other types of devices on both Verizon and AT&T, some of them were not in stock. So Tyrone was absolutely right when he said that we won't see the true churn numbers until the first month of 2022 because of the backlog of orders from Android phones. So because all iPhones were shipping next day or same day even, so it's big time, man. I mean, my contact at Verizon was saying that he had a line at his store for 4 hours straight. That's how many people were like, I need a GTFO because I'm already compromised now 3 times in the last, who knows,
Wow. I mean, people are going to leave when they've had enough. I've always said that is when someone is fed up and they've reached that point, once enough is enough, they'll go. What's up, Medardo? Good to see you. Levon, good to see you as well. Yeah, I don't think it's anything we could just, glaze over. I think it does deserve some considerations as a factor. Yeah. Tyrone, do you want to cap off the T-Mobile news?
Yeah, so the 2 positives that I took from the conference and what they announced in the quarterly earnings. For one, they did say I still think this is kind of a workaround of them still showing investors that they're spending less, but they're actually trying to spend more. So I kind of want to talk about that. So they keep mentioning the acceleration of the Capex in this year. They're going to give guidance around the springtime. So they're adding to the Capex. I don't know how much. I don't know if it's 13, 14, 15 billion. We'll see. But I think what's going to happen is this year they're going to call it acceleration. Next year they're going to try to up the Capex and they're going to say, "Oh, we made more profits in 22." Just to kind of offset the analysts and the investors, to make it look like they're not overspending. But Verizon is coming and they can feel it. They can feel it. It's just how it is, especially when you have a carrier that capital intensive. So that was one of the.
Go ahead, Tim.
That was one of the points that I took from that, and then the second one, which I know it's early on, but I think the most lucrative part of the business now is going to be home internet as they scale that each year. Why do I say that? Because every person that gets it is paying for that service. Those are two of the things that were my takeaways that I saw a little bit of positives from. But the rest of that, the 844,000, how many of those were free? That's always going to be.
I know who we could ask, Tyrone.
Who's that?
We could ask Roger.
Oh yeah, he knows.
So Sneed, I wanted also to mention something that from the T-Mobile situation. So immediately after the Verizon announcement, right, we immediately saw a reaction and a kind of like a nod response, a nod that Verizon's coming, and they're coming in hot. So hot, I would say they're coming in ultra hot, right? So T-Mobile knows.
Cha-cha.
Yeah. So T-Mobile knows, Sneed, and I know Tyrone's saying this. He's been saying this. Verizon's coming in, and T-Mobile there is no room for them to say our product is going to be better than what Verizon's going to be launching.
I want to do some simple math. I need the two of you with me to do these numbers. All right. 4 lines on Verizon. Non-starter plans. Let's call it $40 a line. 4 lines is $160. Plus taxes and fees puts you at $180. Let's call it that, okay? The home internet's going to be 50% off. Let's call it $30. That's $210 for 4 lines of premium unlimited data with home internet. $210. How much is premium T-Mobile for 4 lines with home internet?
Are we including like 2 free lines with Magenta MAX?
And 20% insider discount? What are we including?
And the 20%?
No, just the standard pricing.
That is standard pricing now, Steve. People are giving it away.
Okay, so like what is the Magenta MAX?
Hold on, let me get the website up and then do the 20% and all that.
Let's just call it Magenta. How much is 4 lines of Magenta?
Hold on.
Because that's going to be the
35
situation.
A line.
Okay, so 30. Line. Okay, so it's not the exact same conversion. Okay, so 140 plus 50 is 190.
Yep.
Right? If you move that to max, the bill goes up to what, like 250, 260?
Hold up. I can do that for you here right now. It's $43 a line plus $60 for the internet.
50 with autopay.
How much? 40?
50 with autopay.
Oh, 50. Okay, hold on. So we're now talking 220.
I mean, Verizon made it a value play once they gave that 50% discount to the home internet.
And that's why they did the 20%, for the whole thing, because 170 multiplied by 0.8, which is, 20% off, goes to 136 plus the 50. Now we're at 186.
So give or take $10.
Yeah.
$20 maybe? Because of taxes, maybe?
Well, yeah, with the Magenta MAX, there's tax and fees included. Right?
So then it becomes who's got the better hardware, the better gateway, the better service.
The faster speed, right?
Or it comes down to who has the better value.
Yes, and that's another thing that we're going to be talking about. Tyrone alluded to it yesterday.
Oh, and with T-Mobile, you're getting what? Netflix on us, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then with Verizon, you're getting Disney Plus, Hulu,
ESPN Plus,
ESPN Plus. You're getting, what's that other thing they got?
Apple Arcade, Android Arcade thing.
That's now permanent. It's no longer monthly. It's permanent.
I mean, if I have a family of 4, I mean, there's way more on the Verizon side.
You get
Gotta have it.
64. Yeah, Tyrone's mentioning $64 of value just on the Verizon end. What's the value for T-Mobile?
Netflix is what,
T-Mobile
$20?
Tuesdays? Like, how can you quantify that?
That's
You know?
it's not a value.
Yeah. You have to spend a majority of those things. You have to spend money in order to get something.
No, it's Netflix. That's the value play. Netflix. I think they give a $10 discount on YouTube TV, so it's 50 instead of 60 or something.
Yep. And then they do Fubu. What is it? Fubu TV?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So
They give.
I wanted to mention this because Tyrone mentioned it yesterday. Because Verizon on their plans page is now advertising a $64 price point of value because you choose our service versus somebody else, we have reached telecom parity nationwide. What that means is that you can pick any carrier, but who differentiates the most now? What value do I get by going to Verizon versus T-Mobile versus AT&T? That's a big deal.
And I think that's what it's going to come down to at the urban core, where the networks are more similar than they've ever been. It's going to be, it's going to. Are we shifting towards a value play? We'll see. Right now, we're still heavily focused on free promotions on phones. Maybe the next step of the wireless industry is shifting towards who has the best value on the plans.
Well, if people ditch live TV, cable TV at a faster
Gotta go
pace,
for Verizon.
Yeah,
Verizon's the way to go. They got music. Yep. They got games.
Apple Music, the relationship, the partnership, Apple Arcade.
Yep.
I also wanted to just give this tidbit because I know we talked about it before the live stream. This is reminding me a lot about the research that I was doing in 2019 with South Korea and with the United Kingdom when their 5G plans launched. This exactly happened, Sneed, where the carriers all had the same type of speed. They had the same type of spectrum. Okay. So it didn't matter about the connectivity of it. What mattered was who was going to give me the best perk. Like Verizon, one day out of the 30 days, I get a free international roaming anywhere for one day, right? That's a big deal. That's $10 value that I'm getting for free. Versus T-Mobile's, I get free included 2G speeds roaming international, but that's 2G speed.
Man,
not
2G
uncapped.
Speed is terrible.
Right.
Man.
Right. Now, there's going to be a big shift in the market in terms of this differentiation in value, the same way that the United Kingdom had to do and in South Korea. So just to give you a little bit, because I know it's not really relevant to the United States, but it could become relevant down the line. Both countries' carriers, they were differentiating themselves like this. I can put a perk on my plan or my account that for those 30 days, I get free international roaming for the next 30 days, free. Or I get free, depending on which plan I choose and how much money I spend, I can choose free soccer because, in the United Kingdom, it's very popular. Or in South Korea, I get free baseball. So in the United States, it'd be like free MLB, TV, or free NBA TV, or free NFL Sunday ticket, as an example of the equivalent services in those countries, right? Or some people chose, you know what? I don't want anything. I just want the cheapest possible connectivity. I'm going to opt in for the 25% off for that month. So, Sneed, there's a lot of things going on right now, man. Like, we are in an unprecedented era of competition, and I love it. This is exactly what Leticia James did not foresee. This woman was telling all these people, oh, this is the death of competition. That's all their nonsense, blah, blah, blah. Sneed, Tyrone, can you guys agree?
Yeah.
That we have never in the last 10 years seen this much competition.
So Verizon has never moved before, right? AT&T has never moved before. T-Mobile's been the mover. But I feel like even they are still even after, consuming Sprint, they still have an insatiable appetite to grow. Like they still are making moves that are industry, they shake the industry needle. They move the needle, right? Customers
Yep.
respond and they move and they pivot and they react to it. So she was dead wrong, and I knew she was going to be wrong. And yeah, Moose, it's a good point, and that's why I asked Tyrone, has there ever been a busier time on your channel?
Yeah.
It's busy. It's busy.
So, Tyrone, what do you think about the situation? This hyper competitiveness. What do you think?
No, I think it's good for everybody. I think it's good on the networking side. It's good on the consumer side, the pricing, the value, and I don't want to say it's getting a bit stagnant because everybody's kind of trying to do the same thing now. Like, hey, let me add this, let me do this, let me do that. To match you and you match me. So I wish there was a little bit more innovation coming to that hyper competitiveness. But I think it'll come eventually. I think somebody's going to have to do something out of the ordinary that we haven't seen.
But the ARPU is still very high, Tyrone. It's never been higher. The companies still generate a ton of revenue.
Yeah, they still generate a ton of revenue, and I don't think that'll change anytime soon. The model on value that I really like, and it's not a postpaid carrier, but it's US Mobile. And the reason I like their model is because they have everything. They just have all the value, but you can choose what you want. You want the Xbox Live membership, pick it. You want the PS Plus membership, you can have it. And I think that's another model to follow in terms of letting your base choose what they want instead of you telling them what they're going to get. I think that's the next model that one of the carriers may pick up.
And then that's another thing that's neat. I think we should pose a question, maybe even a poll, right? And I'm going to ask you the first question. After the Verizon announcement on Tuesday, Sneed, do you believe that T-Mobile and AT&T should be updating their plans to include more value?
AT&T, yes. Yeah, AT&T should. I think T-Mobile has been behind the scenes working on that. I mean, they added Apple TV for a year, Paramount Plus for a year. They got Netflix. But I do think AT&T needs to, like you said last night, Moose.
Yeah.
Spotify Family Premium.
Yep. Apple One, potentially.
Apple One, potentially, maybe. There's still a little bit more to pull from, and then who knows? We might get something else that enters the industry. We don't know. Maybe they get a streaming service of substantial discount. Who knows?
What do you think, Sneed?
Maybe.
I'm creating the.
Oh, okay.
The poll.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, it seems like every carrier has some type of, a streaming option, or maybe two streaming options, right? A music and gaming option. Even Metro has Amazon and Google One, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So value is going to go up in 2022. We just want to know, is it big? Anyways, Sneed, go ahead and mention the poll and the stuff.
All right, so we do have the poll live in the live chat. You can vote on tonight's poll simply by clicking on the blue box and then chiming in. Should T-Mobile and or AT&T respond to Verizon's Ultra announcement and changes? Your options are AT&T should respond, T-Mobile should respond, neither should respond, or both should respond. And I just want to say this before we move on, because this thought came to my mind. I thought about it a lot today. During the announcement, a couple days ago with the Ultra announcement, Verizon never mentioned most reliable network, most award-winning network. That whole thing that they've been hanging their head on pretty much for the last 15 to 20 years. I don't think that converts anymore. I don't think people care. I think the network parity piece has become so glaringly obvious to 80% of the U.S. population, with the exception of those who travel with regularity, right? Yeah, so Hans didn't bring it up. Nobody at Verizon brought it up. I mean, obviously they have network excellence. They have a pedigree of strong networking and such and all of that. But it just was not part of their message because that would be calling or harking on something that people just don't see as top of the priority anymore because they don't think it exists. People are saying AT&T is just as reliable. In these
Yes,
markets, T-Mobile's just as it's the same. Like whether that's true or not doesn't matter. It's the consumer perspective that matters. It's how they see it.
exactly, Sneed. And somebody asked a great question earlier in the chat. It said, given all of the great insight you all are sharing, is 5G a true deciding factor for the consumer? That was the base of that question. And if you look at AT&T's numbers, you wouldn't you would have to answer that with a no. If 5G would be the deciding factor, T-Mobile would be getting everybody's growth,
But
100% of it, because
but
you
Tyrone,
know
the standalone network does not it's not conveying a distinguishing experience.
exactly. But the consumer doesn't know that, but they're not flocking to that carrier because of 5G. That's all you see on TV with T-Mobile: 5G, 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 5G. So it's not really a deciding factor. AT&T, the most quietest on 5G, all they say is new and existing customers get the same deal, had the fastest growth again in the fourth quarter. They don't speak about C-band. They didn't come out with an AT&T Ultra show, but they had the biggest growth. So,
You know what this reminds me of? The whole 5G thing and all of that. This reminds me of a scenario. I'll kind of paint a picture for you guys. T-Mobile's like 5G innovation, like the leadership and how they want to be out in front. They remind me of those people that were camped out in front of Best Buys with tents. Like just trying to be the first, like they're waiting in line outside in -10-degree weather, just trying to get an Xbox, right? And they're going to camp out for like 2 days. And then Verizon obviously wants to have 5G leadership too, and they care, but they're like setting their alarm at like 8 a.m. The store opens at 9 a.m., right? And then here's AT&T. They're eating breakfast. It's 10 o'clock. They're like, maybe I'll go take a shower. I'll go to the gym, and then I'll go and I'll buy that Xbox. Like they each have a different persona approach to how they're doing 5G and what it means to them. And
exactly.
it's just it's such a stark difference between each of the companies. But then again, think about it. T-Mobile's playing from behind in perception, network size, pedigree.
Everything.
It's just different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Sneed. The factor and the biggest reason why it was so important for Verizon to get ahead and out on LTE early was because there was stuff on your phone that you couldn't do on 3G that you can now do with LTE. And you're like, whoa, I can do this on my phone. Now, with T-Mobile claiming the leadership, that same video that you were watching on LTE, you're watching that same video on 5G. So it's not that big of a deciding factor like it was going from 3G to LTE. And we don't have what everybody calls the killer app, the 5G killer app. It's not here yet. We just gained additional capacity. So yeah, I can stream 4K now on a wireless connection or the home internet, but it's not something new. We're used to this already. It just got the bandwidth just got a bit better because of the spectrum.
But see, that's the thing. Like Verizon built an ecosystem yesterday. They said we're going to sell you home internet for cheap. We got these modems. Here's this AR VR. Here's this Apple Share, whatever. Like they gave off like 5 different ultra innovations. They're telling you what you could do with it. I mean, Magenta MAX is what T-Mobile's pushing as their 5G use case. So it's the home internet and Magenta MAX, I guess.
Yeah, that's really what they're pushing. And they're saying the number one biggest use case is the smartphone still, which that's been the use case during LTE. They're not really showing us what Verizon showed us.
That's exactly what I wanted to say, and I mentioned it to you, Tyrone, as well as Moose, in our chat. is Verizon is telling people here are things you could do with this 5G ultra wideband. And for T-Mobile having the leadership in 5G, they still haven't conveyed the new use case agenda of what they want to do. All they've said is Magenta MAX and home internet.
And by the way, I want to mention this now, Sneed. The only reason why people are upgrading rapidly and the upgrade rates are higher than ever before is because the carrier promotions finally are really good.
You hear what AT&T said?
Talk to me.
AT&T said that it's getting cheaper and cheaper for them to take customers.
Yeah.
Right? So the cost of acquisition, right, the cost to take a customer from another carrier continues to decrease.
They're not paying ridiculous promotions like T-Mobile paying MasterCard gift cards and all this other nonsense credit. And
yeah, but I think the bigger concern, Moose, is the fact that Magenta customers are only getting half the promo, and Sprint customers don't even qualify for most of the promos.
Yeah, that's even worse, man. That's like a third-rate citizen right there, man. Third-class citizen.
And that's what I mentioned earlier in my video. That's where T-Mobile is dropping the ball. They're over here trying to migrate customers from the Sprint base, and they can't take advantage of these deals. I mean, what are you doing?
But that customer is going to be more expensive to take later.
And that too. If they go to AT&T or Verizon, how do you win them back? Well, you're going to have to pay more money now instead of giving them 20% off.
And people that switch from T-Mobile to Verizon or AT&T may never go back.
Yep.
It's going to be difficult. They might get a great value, like Tyrone has said. What if they love the Hulu, Disney, ESPN Plus bundle?
Yep.
What if they love C-band? What if they get mmWave home internet to their house?
Ooh.
And they start Tyrone? What if you had mmWave at your door for $25 a month?
Oh, that would be great.
Like that's going to happen. Yeah. That's going to be a situation to monitor.
That's going to be a situation also for Spectrum and Comcast to wake up, because that's big time and it's coming. The day is coming where, you will have.
This is their fault, Moose.
Yeah, street by street competitions need street by street.
This is Big Cable's fault. When they started selling wireless service, they opened the door to the wireless providers being like, okay, well, we're coming to your industry now.
Right.
All we needed was Spectrum. All we needed was our infrastructure built.
Right. Now, going down the list of topics for tonight, we already talked about the preliminary numbers. We already talked about the Verizon introducing a new category to compare carriers with, right? The value. How much value are you giving me? We have not talked about the 30% base. Let's talk about that.
All right, go ahead and get through it.
Okay, so from Tuesday's presentation on the Ultra Show, 30% of Verizon's entire base of customers is premium. They are saying that by 2023, 50% of all customers will be on their premium, quote, premium plans.
Mm-hmm.
That's big. That's point number one. Point number two, of the 30% of customers, of that 30%, so 30% of the base has 5G phones. From that 30%, 90% of that 30 is C-band ready.
So that means iPhone 12 generation, yep. iPhone 13 generation,
yep. S21.
S21 generation, Fold 3, Flip 3, right?
Yep. Now, and Pixel update.
Pixel 6, 6 Pro. Here's the thing. The Pixel 5, the 4A 5G, those phones are up in the air. I don't know when those updates are coming. So we can't just say, pencil those in. That's a wait and see.
Right.
The S20, that's a wait and see also.
Right.
But I would tell you guys, don't hold your breath. Samsung sucks when it comes to stuff like this.
Yes.
Don't hold your breath.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Tyron. Go ahead.
No, Samsung really sucks when it comes to like updates and all that stuff.
Yeah, so people have been asking which phones will get C-band. And obviously, right, the ones that we know of for sure, day one, which all indications are January 19th. Some people, by the way, another point that we have to talk about, some people already have access to ultra wideband in certain sites. I know that Apple Watts has been posting, and several other folks on Twitter, C-band is on, peaking at 1.3 to 1.8 gigabits. And unbelievable. So those phones, like mentioned before, live right now that will be able to get the C-band, iPhone 12, 13, S21, S22, and next month, Z Flip, Z Fold, Pixel. It's incoming with the December/January security update that will enable the N77.
Yep. And, it just goes to show you, for anybody that has an X50 modem 5G device, you're out of luck. If you're on an X52, you're out of luck. If you're on an X55, you might get lucky. You might. No guarantee. If you're in an X60, you're covered. If you've got, obviously some of the newer ones that are coming out, you're good. Obviously, everything moving forward is covered. So, yeah.
So now we have a question for the maybe this might be a good time to end the poll, Sneeze, so we can go to another poll. But
yeah, let's go ahead and close it out. If you guys want to vote in tonight's first poll, it is up. We're going to close it out here in 1 minute. Should T-Mobile and or AT&T respond to Verizon's Ultra announcement and changes? Your options are to choose from AT&T should respond, T-Mobile should respond, neither should respond, or both should. Go ahead and vote in that poll. We'll be closing that out here in a few seconds.
It's very interesting looking at the votes. We're almost at 100 votes. This is I'm very surprised somebody would vote neither should respond to Verizon. That is interesting.
All right. We got 101 votes. All votes are in. Let's take a look at the final numbers and let's see what the pulse of the people, the SMT Nation, we'll see what they got to say here. All right. At 47%, both should respond. All right. So if that's the case, Moose, how do they respond? What would they need to modify?
It's just a slight tweak for T-Mobile. It's a slight tweak of their marketing. They have to match the marketing style of Verizon in the sense of if you're putting a value, like Tyrone has been saying since yesterday, if you're putting a number value on what you're offering as a free value of being on your service, you have to explicitly on your website show it. How much value are you bringing to the table? Put a number on T-Mobile Tuesdays. Put a number on the, Netflix, Paramount Plus, the Apple TV Plus, the all the other nonsense, right, that they're doing. Put a number. For AT&T, you have to come in even more strong in terms of the marketing and add additional and established relationships. Spotify, YouTube Premium, YouTube TV. We're talking hot on the DirecTV stream, potentially a $20 discount or something like that. It needs to have massive change because it seems like the AT&T one is the worst of the three carriers in terms of value. Other than if you are on a fiber situation, then it has a little bit of a different calculation, Sneed. I think, that could be something of a conversation. But strictly wireless, AT&T is the worst of the three right now in terms of a value play.
Okay, so AT&T responding. I think the only thing AT&T would have to do from a wireless standpoint would be just to increase the hotspot. Maybe what are they at 40 gigs?
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Yeah,
if you want to match, if you just want to play that game. Otherwise, the video playback's better on AT&T Elite
and T-Mobile.
Yeah.
And the Magenta MAX, right?
Yeah.
So if that matters to people, then those are deal breakers, right? Now, if the 10 gigabytes of hotspot is more meaningful to you, then you go with them, with Verizon.
Yeah.
But if the video playback is like, wow, I can have unthrottled, uncapped, my fast.com speeds are what I'm getting on Ookla. So that
Yeah.
means I can get 450 megabits per second to my video if I want it, which means 4K, 8K, whatever the hell you're doing.
Yeah, there's one revamp or value that we haven't talked about in a while because it's kind of gone under the radar, but taxes and fees included for AT&T, that's Stanky's keeping that in his back pocket. And if the numbers do slow down at some point or he feels they need to get more aggressive, I can tell you guys right now that's going to be included.
Think about that,
it's in the
Tyrone. Look at
it's in the
they're
works.
the number one growth company, and they don't even
Yep.
have that.
They don't,
And that's
exactly.
also-
I want you guys to think about it. AT&T, generally speaking, has a larger network than T-Mobile, has a more uniformly capacitive network than T-Mobile, and they're growing faster, and they don't offer free lines, and they don't have taxes and fees included. That's tells you something about what AT&T is doing, and none of it involves 5G.
Well, I know when you guys got the intelligence that taxes and fees were on the horizon, and then we even had Reddit responding that taxes and fees were on the horizon. Tyrone is right in the indication that it's in the shelf, ready to go. Like it's in, like Sneed would say, metaphor-wise, the bullet is in the chamber. At any time, it could be launched.
Moose, I have another saying for this, and that's John Stanky's in the catbird seat. He has every tool at his disposal, and he's more like, as big as the company is, now that they have streamlined the company with wireless and fiber focus, it's actually pretty lean right now. It's the leanest it's ever been. Right? So and things are a little messy at Verizon. Right? There's a lot of stuff happening, and T-Mobile, every time there's a data breach, the company's on fire,
Damn.
I mean, so no carrier is perfect, but I have to say, as much as I have disdain towards AT&T in the past and with other issues, but you have to call a spade a spade. They're in the catbird seat.
They are, and I think your experience right now, Sneed, is everything that AT&T has to offer. You have it all right now. You got the fiber complementary with the wireless. You have that whole package. So from your experience and you speaking on it, those are the weapons, that Stanky has. He has the fiber product, which is rated, the highest by consumers, and the wireless network is just increasingly getting better. And just wait until they spin off this Warner Media. The wireless network is getting ready to explode. This is only the beginning.
We have a super chat.
All right, big shout out to Kamikaze Kid. Thank you for the super chat, sir. He said, I too, like so many others, am having trouble toggling my 4K video res feature on, and now it won't even toggle back on at all. What is he speaking about, guys? Do you know?
So that was another bullet that we were going to talk about, and I'm glad that the nation provided the topic because we already had it ready to go in the chamber, like we've been saying. I know. Yeah, exactly. the burst fire mode. Yeah. So this is a big issue, guys. Tech Extremist also posted on Twitter that he was having issues toggling the 4K feature. I don't think that everything has been fully fleshed out with that new plans, because clearly, if they had everything fleshed out, this would be a non-topic today, right? You would all agree?
Yeah. Yes, wouldn't even be talked about.
I think, Moose, this may have something to do with the C-band delay. I think they put some stuff on the shelf, anticipating it was going to get pushed back and delayed. Then they were able to launch it. Then they came across a couple of problems, and now they're kind of going through it. Right. And it's going to require probably a couple of revamps in their back end and their systems. And they're probably just going to have to fix it. And it's probably going to take 24, 48 hours.
They're saying it's going to take up to a week, Sneed.
Oh,
we're talking.
Yeah, there you go. It needs a system change. Yeah.
We're talking people that have switched, that are not getting the 50% off their tablet lines. They're not getting the hotspot increase. I mean, the whole plan is shot right now.
I think Verizon made a mistake. They probably should have just waited till January 19th. I mean, we've
That too.
had T-Mobile make announcements for things that didn't come out for another 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, companies do this. It's not unfounded.
Yeah. See, I was made aware like 3 days prior. I saw the video, and I was made aware that the customers would be automatically switched on their billing cycle and that they would not be able to do it manually, which most people's billing cycles were likely to run into next month. So I think maybe the fact that they were automatically already toggled to be switched at the billing cycle and now they did it manually might have interfered.
Hmm.
Because this was supposed to happen automatically.
Yeah, you want the system to be automated for that.
Yes, that's what Verizon said. Because if not, my guy at Verizon told me if not, you're going to have people calling in. You're going to have to chat. You're just going to have everybody, slamming the lines trying to get this plan change.
And remember,
I wonder what the conversion is going to be though to this plan.
That's a good question. But also keep in mind, Sneed and Tyrone, I think you guys mentioned this. It's going to be a 100% conversion from people that were already on those plans. They're going to just migrate over to the 5G plan from just a system change, right?
Correct.
But people from, and by the way, that means that 30% of the base that's already on premium will immediately switch over to these plans because those premium customers are already on the previous version of this plan. It's just been boosted.
But I'm saying is who's moving from the do more, play more? Who's moving from starter to this? Like, what's the conversion? Who's leaving AT&T for this? Nobody. Nobody is leaving AT&T for this plan because they have the elite. Nobody is leaving Magenta MAX for this plan. This is to get more people off of play more, do more. It has to be. It has to get people off a starter. There's no other way. They are not going to convert an AT&T Elite or Magenta MAX customer.
So
the plans are too similar and in some ways better on the other side.
So this is how it's going to go, right, Sneed? You're going to be sitting in your living room during a primetime episode, and the episode's going to go off, and then you're going to get a immediate message. Your 6-month trial is up. Gotcha. If you want it permanently, go to the Get More.
Yeah, and that's going to change that line to $5 or $10 a month. Extra.
Yep.
All right.
ARPU.
I was actually, Sneed, kind of disappointed in one thing about the Verizon plans. The most expensive plan has the same international offering as the mid-tier plans, right? Doesn't that seem kind of odd, Sneed?
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I wanted. I wanted, at least, to be completely honest with you, Sneed, I wanted maybe 5 days of the 30 days.
No company is more iterative than Apple. They change one thing each year and tell you this is the best iPhone we've ever made. Verizon is the same way.
Yep.
They change one thing about the plan and tell you, look at this.
Our best plan ever.
Ever. It is essentially exactly what Apple does in its business model.
Yeah.
They change one thing about the iPhone and they say best iPhone you'll ever buy until the next year, right? And it's not that they're lying, it's just an exaggeration.
Very much so.
So
that's
we
like,
have
that's like a millionaire versus somebody who only has 999,000,
So the question, I think maybe this could be another post need. I don't know how we word it, but what is the differentiator for the carriers now, right? Now that we are now comparing perks instead of coverage, speed, or anything else, reliability, we're just talking about perks mostly and this ecosystem and, what are you doing for me instead of what should I do for you type of thing, right? For my hard-earned money. And now, because on average, I think it's like 6 lines per account on average now. It's out of control. So many lines now. What are customers benefiting from going to one carrier to another if all carriers have the same promotion? 1,000 off, 900, $1,200 off. T-Mobile was doing with other add-ons and stuff like that, right? The device is one thing, but now the perks are another thing. The connectivity, relatively the same if you're in an urban environment, especially when C-band turns on.
All right.
I mean, what do you think?
I'm working on the poll. Yeah. It is now up. Here we go.
So read it off. How did you word it, Sneed?
How do you choose your carrier if they have extremely similar network experiences? Your options are media benefits and perks, hotspot data, device promotions and upgrades, plan or account pricing.
Yeah, this is really good poll, man. This is possibly one of the biggest polls of 2022, and I'm going on record right now. This poll will differentiate so many discussion points. This
Moose,
right here.
Moose, I know what to expect. Ask Roger Etner, and I think he'll tell you.
See,
go ahead.
When LTE started heating up and T-Mobile gained somewhat of densification in the urban core, and they had those two mid-band channels, one they got from AT&T and the other they got from Metro, they started gaining somewhat of that speed parity, not overall network, but speed parity in the urban core. And then people said, well, Roger will tell you they reached parity in that urban core. And then pricing was the difference maker. People chose T-Mobile because they were cheaper. So I think, the pricing does make a difference, but here's the thing. Here's what we talked about last night, Moose. If Verizon goes and says, okay, well, I cost this much, but I'm going to save you $70 in value, who are you going to choose now? Now it's going to get a lot tougher.
So watch this. So this is how I feel, and I want to give people a chance to vote in the poll, and that's fine. What Tyrone does really well whenever he discusses Verizon's plans, perks, and benefits is he talks about the value proposition with all of the add-ons and the perks. The savvy customer who uses and consumes media clearly would lean towards Verizon. A person who uses Hulu would enjoy ESPN Plus and uses Disney Plus. It's a slam dunk. Each one of those services ranges between $5 and $15 per month. That's in one bundle. What about Apple Music? Are we at $10 a month?
Yep. $10.
What about the arcade? Does that have value?
I think it's like what is it? Moose $6.99, $5.99. I think that's the pricing.
Okay, so
$5.
Just all of that stuff. If you use those things, going to any other carrier than Verizon makes no sense. Now, if you don't use those things, you're a different kind of customer. Now, let's say you like HBO, then AT&T is the slam dunk, especially if you can get their home internet as well. I mean, you're going to get 25% off wireless. You're going to get the HBO Max. There's all these things. And then if none of those things matter, even if you don't use Netflix, then T-Mobile's the cheaper option. It's Verizon basically said this to customers. Okay, we're not going to beat anybody in pricing. We're never going to be cheaper than AT&T. We're never going to be cheaper than T-Mobile. So here's what we're going to do. To make it up to you, we're going to continue to charge you the most expensive premium price on your account, but we're going to give you so much stuff, you will feel like you are making out like a bandit. So it's like going to buy a steak, but they gave you the all-you-can-eat buffet with it.
You know what else, Sneed, Tyrone, that we forgot to mention? There's a hidden cost for being on T-Mobile. How much do these data breaches and hacks and SIM swaps affect you? What's the number value? And that's going to be like a oh damn moment, like a WTF moment.
That's a residual side effect of some things that consumers can't control. They make a decision to join a carrier.
Whoa,
Never
whoa.
does it cross their mind that they're going to have a hack.
You can control that, Sneed. You chose to be on the Magenta.
Yeah, but there are people who don't even know what hacks are.
Exactly. You're absolutely right on that. They have no idea. They literally say, well, it's happening everywhere. My Equifax got hacked, so what? Who cares if T-Mobile has my info? You're absolutely right. People don't care. But for the people that do care, what is the cost of having your information compromised? You don't hear Verizon, having issues. You don't hear every day that AT&T has issues. You don't even Dish for a fact doesn't have issues. You know what I'm saying? And that's another topic that we're going to talk later, right? But you're absolutely right, Sneed. There is now a differentiation in terms. These four topics are huge. That's why I said, and I'm on record, this poll is such a critical poll for 2022. And we're already not even the first week. We haven't even gotten to the 7th day of January, and we're already talking like this is going to be the differentiating factor for 22.
All right. So I think for pricing, that matters to most people. Priority number one, pricing matters. I think for a family, I think the media benefits and perks matter. Okay, because I'm like NR. I'm like no radio. He has a family where people are consuming media. So like they want entertainment. So having the Hulu, the ESPN Plus, which I watch the UFC fights, the Disney Plus, I mean, guys, that is clutch.
La Liga.
HBO Max.
Liga.
Yeah, HBO Max with AT&T is clutch. My wife loves HBO Max.
Mm-hmm. See, Sneed, I think the market is not really fully analyzing and realizing yet how well Verizon is really positioned. And I don't really think they have a need to really tell the market how good they're positioned, but it's like if you're on the get more, right, and you decide to leave Verizon, just for an example, Verizon's going to tell you, well, if you leave me, you like these perks, you're going to have to pay upwards of almost $70 to get them back out of pocket. Then if you leave Verizon, they're so deep in the MVNO space that you're likely going to end up with one of their MVNOs and you're going to end up partially paying them anyway. Because they now bought they bought TracFone,
right?
They got Spectrum, they got Xfinity, and then and that's how they're gonna approach it.
Moose, I really don't like to throw stuff back in your face, but I got to on this one, bud.
Let's go.
All right. 1 year ago, I told you that Verizon has no problem selling their network for cheap as long as they don't have to be bothered by people's customers. And Tyrone, what did Manan say today?
She at the conference, she said, and she made it very clear. So for anybody that's a part of the channel right now, if you are expecting Verizon to drop pricing, it's not going to happen. She is going to attack the market, pricing, pressure, competition, whatever. It's going to happen with TracFone. If Dish comes in with $5 plans, whatever, she's going to attack that with TracFone. Verizon will not be in that discussion at all.
Ever.
Not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. This is very eye-opening, right, Sneed? Because when we had that conversation, we didn't expect the TracFone acquisition to be the way to mitigate the price control or the price pressure, I should say.
But I didn't need to know that particularly. All I knew is that Verizon was active as a prepaid or an MVNO, and we were seeing Xfinity and Spectrum Mobile adding 500,000 subs a quarter. And Verizon was content letting those customers be served by their respected ISP, not by Verizon. Verizon, the network as a service, but not servicing those customers specifically and directly. And I told you they were happy and content with that because the time and the attention and the resources mattered to them. They want to dedicate those resources and that time to a profitable customer. A not as profitable customer is fine for them, but they refuse to give them the attention that they require. Let that be someone else's problem, i.e. Spectrum and Xfinity.
Yep. And I still think Sneed. She keeps talking about network as a service, and they were both on the call. It was her and Kyle. Kyle's in charge of the network, and he was mentioning on the back end that he's feeding so much capacity into the core right now that he'll have no problem with offering the service. So I think I'm just brainstorming. She made it a huge point to talk about upselling. She wants to bring upselling to the base, premium plans, all that stuff. I think there is at some point going to be an opportunity for them once they have that C-band largely built. They can offer a lower cost option, and like kind of like how they do it with the LTE home internet, but more of a capped speed. And I think they have the ability and the opportunity to offer home internet to track phone customers. It could be 15 down, 10 up, whatever. Cap it and give it to them for $10. I think they have that opportunity. I don't know if they're discussing that, or I don't know if that's even on the table, but I think that could be a stream of revenue off of the same network.
Yeah. I mean, there is a large percentage of customers that want the most modest of speeds from Verizon, but they want their coverage and they want their reliability. They will gladly pay $20 a month for 10 megabits per second speed.
Yep.
They don't care.
They don't care. They want it cheap, and that's what we talked about early on, Steve, when the TracFone merger or them buying TracFone was first announced. We were trying to figure out why are they buying this low end option. Dollar Generals, and that's where they exist.
Premium plans are for most customers. They are converting them very easily. Maybe you, actual reality, your screen name there. Maybe you are not in the market for a premium plan, but the data suggests that that's not correct.
Families, huge, Sneed. You're right.
Oh.
Sneed, you ended the poll. I love these numbers. You want to discuss the numbers?
How do you choose your carrier if they have extremely similar network experiences? 53% said the plan or the account pricing. I figured that would take the lead. Media benefits and perks came in strong, 19%. Device promos and upgrades, that's still a pretty good showing there, 15%. See, the hotspot data is the least of the thing, and that's what Verizon changed. I'm telling you guys, it didn't take much for Verizon to do this. It's not going to impact their network. This made a small percentage of people happy. Many people will they won't even move.
Yeah, the hotspot is when I need it, I want it there, right? Or if I don't have it and I need it, I can just upgrade to the plan that has it. But just because it's an additional 10, gigs compared to the competition, it's not something that I'm going to switch for right now. If it was unlimited hotspots, now that's a whole different conversation.
Can't do that.
Right. The abuse is too massive.
Well, it undermines the concept of a mobile network. You know what I mean? Like a mobile network is really designed for on-device data. I've gotten to the point where my phone can do so much. I don't even carry a tablet. I don't even carry a laptop. I don't need to. I'm not even joking, Moose. I think my iPhones, my Pixels are more powerful than my Lenovo laptop. And they've got better displays and they've got better modems and you know what I'm saying? And it's not convenient to carry around a large slab that folds.
Tyrone, what do you think about these numbers, Tyrone?
They're interesting. They're very interesting. Like I said, for most, if they can get a cheaper deal, they're going to go for the cheaper deal. That's just basic nature, right? But like you always say, you get what you pay for. And I think, what's his name mentioned that the other day, Dennis. He said, if I can get one of those codes 20% off, then I won't be as mad anymore as T-Mobile. And people were like, why are you saying that? He's like, because I'm going to be paying less because the service is worse. He's like, why am I going to pay AT&T prices when I'm not getting AT&T experience?
Tyrone, I got I got a comment on my video from, the 20% insider hookup,
Yeah.
the Magenta MAX upsell.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was a person who works for T-Mobile. He said, people like you, he's speaking to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
YouTube channels, people reporting this, should not be leaking these memos because these codes are not designed for the general public. They're designed for the friends and the families of the people that work at T-Mobile.
What? Whoa.
That's specifically what that guy said. Yes.
That is so unethical that you hoard it for your friends and your family when it's supposed to be for people to stay on your network, period.
Well, what I mentioned to him was, well, if I'm bringing it to the consumer attention, what's the worst thing that could happen? They ask someone at the store for the insider hookup, and then the person says, "I already gave it to someone," or "I don't have one."
Yeah.
That's literally the worst outcome, is I can't help you. But he was
Yeah.
mad well, I can't speak to Tyrone, did you make a video on that?
Yeah, I did. I
Okay,
made a
so
video, and the T-Mobile report leaked it out. We
well,
didn't
that's what
have
he's
that
saying.
info.
He said these types of things are not supposed to be leaked out.
Yeah, but I kind of understand it, but the fact that it's only for family members and stuff, I don't know, because they're going to use those codes to get new lines. They're going to use them to get new accounts. That's what the store reps are generally instructed to use them for. They're not, hey, let me give this to my sister and brother so they can have 20% off. What's the incentive for the store rep to do so? They're not making commission off of that, giving the code to the family member.
Which in all likelihood they already have 3 or 4 free lines. God damn it!
Exactly, because
On top of that,
yeah,
or they already got the goddamn insider code that they had last time.
No,
they've had.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they've had insider codes now for several years.
And I don't agree.
Did we lose Moose?
Sounds like it. Yeah, because if I get the code, right, I have Magenta MAX. If I get the code 20% off, I just get a discount. But how does the rep get commission off of giving me the code for me to get a lesser bill? I understand they might get discounts commissions for an upsell or add a line if they use that, cool. But if I'm already on the plan and they give me the code and I get 20% off, then T-Mobile just lost money. They're not going to pay them an additional commission for losing money.
Tyrone, is there anything else that was on the list that we had to get to tonight, or did we cover most of it?
I think we did cover most of it extensively. We had polls up. People, they gave their opinion on the polls. The next big thing to look forward to, Sneed, I think we don't have the numbers of Verizon yet, so that's coming up. I don't think they're going to give any preliminary numbers. Their numbers are likely not going to be as good as T-Mobile or AT&T's. And just auction 110 results. That's what we're going to wait on now.
Apologize, I got a call.
Is there a chance that we could see that tomorrow or Monday?
Possibly, Sneed. Possibly tomorrow. Possibly Monday. The assignment phase is closed. It's done. So now they just have to generate. I was speaking to my guy, and he says the quiet period is still on because it hasn't been publicly released. So the FCC, they're the big shots. They're going to want to release that first, and then the carriers can talk about it and
all right,
share what they got.
We got to do a quick fact or fiction. All right, fact or fiction, Tyrone.
Yeah.
AT&T 40 megahertz national.
Oh, big fact. Big facts.
Huge.
Huge. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
And I apologize, I got a call, but I wanted to address one thing. And I think all of us can agree here because we are consumer advocates, right, Sneed, Tyrone? We are consumer advocates.
Yep.
Hoarding 20% off codes for your friends and your family does nobody any good, especially if that could be going to a brand new line for a new customer or to save a customer from going to another company, because both of those are keeping revenue. So cost avoidance, right? You're avoiding losing the customer, and 2, gaining ARPU, gaining revenue.
All right, so Moose, AT&T 40 megahertz national, fact or fiction?
Oh, 100% fact.
All right, I'm going fact.
I think we're hot on this. It's going to be big time.
Okay, I got another one. Verizon 40 megahertz national, fact or fiction, Tyrone?
Can I say maybe?
No, you either fact or fiction. I'm going to give you some other options.
Yeah. So you said 40 megahertz nationwide, Verizon.
Yeah, fact or fiction?
I'm going to have to say fiction.
Moose?
I just want to preface my answer, if I can. That would mean that for 2022, they would have 100 megahertz nationwide on top of the 60 for C-band, N77.
Yeah.
Additional 40 for N77. But I know that in 2023, they will have opened up the floodgates to the 220 that they purchased, right? 180 in some
160,
areas.
200. Yeah.
Lots of different amounts, way higher capacity. I don't think they needed Sneed. I'm going to say fiction. I don't think 40. I don't think 40. Maybe 20.
Okay, let me set up the next one. All right, Moose, 30 megahertz national Verizon, fact or fiction?
I still think fiction. I still think fiction on the 30.
Okay, Tyrone, fact or fiction, 30 megahertz national for Verizon?
For Verizon, the company is disciplined. I've been following their spectrum purchases throughout LTE. I'm going to have to say fiction.
Okay. I agree with the two of you. 40 megahertz national is fiction. 30 megahertz national is fiction. All right. Now, let's structure it this way. Fact or fiction? 30 to 40 megahertz in specific PEAs. Fact or fiction?
Facts.
Big facts.
100%.
Big facts.
I think we need to preface this answer, and I think Tyrone and I and Sneed are agreeing. 60 megahertz for 2022 is not enough for Verizon in the top 50 markets for Verizon.
Well, here's the thing, though. They have to deploy equipment. That means they have to touch the sites again. So they're not going to have this 30 to 40 megahertz up and running immediately. So that's going to take some time to scale that as well.
All right. Well, that leaves us with T-Mobile, I think, and Dish. Let's do T-Mobile first.
Wait, hold up, Sneed. You didn't answer your own question. The 30 to 40.
That is my prediction. I have said time and time again, I think they're going to treat it like CBRS, 30, 40 megahertz in specific PEAs.
Yeah. And you can see by their behavior that they want to deploy more than 60. The reason I say more than 60, because most of the newer sites that are getting C-band, they're also getting CBRS. So there's automatically more spectrum on the site already.
But it's separate. You're going to have a 5G channel, and then you're going to have an LTE channel. I don't know when they're going to turn on the NR side for CBRS. But I do know that the radios can do NR.
Yes, we'll have that info very soon, Sneed.
Yeah. Okay, we got to do T-Mobile. All right. Fact or fiction? T-Mobile 20 megahertz national.
Ooh. I'm gonna have to say fiction on that one.
All right, Moose.
I think fiction as well, Sneed. I think they're gonna go all in for the additional N41 auction instead.
Okay, fact or fiction? 10 to 20 megahertz in select markets.
Yeah, because of the situation with the inconsistency of the frequencies of N41, right? Yeah, I think so.
I think I'm going to go ahead and I don't know if you're going to ask this one, Sneak. I think they go for 30, 40 nationwide, man.
T-Mobile
Yeah.
on
The reason I say,
on Spectrum Auction 110.
yes, the reason I say that, Sneed, is because their capex is not showing us that they're going to go through a huge material densification. So if you look at the rate that their home internet is growing, they have to feed the macro with spectrum, and it can't be millimeter wave spectrum because there's no real range to it.
And they're not serving cities with their home internet. They're serving rural with their home internet.
Exactly. So they need as much spectrum as they can possibly hoard and put on the site, because if not, they're going to have high churn on that home internet in the urban core very quickly. So that's my prediction. 646,000 total already for the year. They gained 80% of those customers in 2021. I think they can do easily 2 million at the rate that they're going this year. They're going to grow that. They're going to drastically beat any guidance that they put out for that product, because the cable companies have had such a shitty rep just by perception. People are going to be happy with something new. They don't know if it works or not, but they're going to try it.
Fact or fiction? So, T-Mobile's ever going to build out CBRS?
No.
Jeez.
Fiction.
I think that's the last, even before millimeter wave, man, that's the last. Like, damn, man.
Why did they buy it? And why don't people keep the same energy for T-Mobile as they do for Dish? Everybody's Charlie's a squatter. And then here's T-Mobile sitting on millimeter wave and CBRS doing nothing.
Wait. See, we do have more topics before we get to that. What's Dish gonna do?
Let's get this Kamikaze Kid super chat here. Thanks, Kamikaze Kid. He said, "Thank you for all that you guys do to keep us informed. We appreciate it. Thanks again. You're very welcome, and we're happy to do it."
Yeah.
I mean, Tyrone. Well, go ahead, Tyrone.
Yeah, just real quick. In terms of the CBRS and the fiction, I mean, they've deployed LAA and it made no real impact on the network overall.
Terrible.
So they'd have to swap it out, or I don't know what they're going to do with LAA, but it hasn't done much for them.
Sneed, what's Dish going to do about all this? Like, fact or fiction? Did they even get 10 megahertz?
They have to. They have to. There's no more lower mid-band spectrum left. After this, it's 4.9, 5.9. What's left? 6 gigahertz, 12 gigahertz. There's nothing left, dog. They have to. They have to get 20 megahertz national. If they don't get 20 megahertz national, right, and probably 30, 40 is more appropriate, there will never be a more affordable mid-band spectrum the rest of the way. Because after this, Moose, we're moving to higher frequencies, which requires more densification. Dish cannot densify. That's the one thing they cannot do. They have to be cheap. That means the least amount of sites with the least amount of gear, with the cheapest gear, like JMA, instead of a real vendor like Nokia.
What are they using? Radios from Fuji? What is that company called?
Fujitsu.
Who the hell uses them?
It's a cost cutting measure, you know, that they're getting. I mean, these are vendors that Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile don't even mess with.
Sprint like they never even use those.
They never even entertained them. And big shout out to Teddy. Thanks for the hot dog with the mustard. Good looking out, dog.
Yeah, Sprint didn't even use them.
I mean, Samsung's a legit vendor, you know?
Yeah.
Fujitsu, bro. JMA.
That's like worse than MediaTek, dog.
They're not even going with CommScope for the low band.
No, they're not. They're going to need a partner. Let's just put it that way, Moose. They're going to need somebody with a huge capital cash infusion that's going to say, go build. And I'm not talking about like a Comcast. I'm talking about somebody with some Apple type of money, $3 trillion type of money.
Dang.
Amazon, Microsoft, Apple,
Amazon, somebody, they're gonna need it. Charlie's gonna need it, and I
SpaceX.
bet
I've
you.
been talking about that too. You know, the partnership between the satellite and satellite for Dish with the terrestrial, wireless. Unbelievable. Fujitsu, my gosh.
I didn't even know they make wireless equipment.
Yeah.
I thought they do cameras.
Yeah, I'm not sure about all the equipment they make, but we're learning stuff every day. Dish teaches us a lot of new stuff, dude.
Okay, the next question before we this is the last bullet that we have. Where does Dish?
Thanks, Teddy, for the super chat, by the way. Go ahead, Moose.
Where does Dish fit in all this, Sneed Tyrone? I mean, $20, $30. I mean, damn.
They don't fit. They they don't really fit, I mean, where do they position themselves, right? That's the question.
Mm-hmm. Right. Where do they position themselves in a hyper competitive, we have massive Capex being dumped in just 2 years just for C-band.
What do you guys think about them just leasing the spectrum to the big carriers and then just being the super MVNO?
Yeah, Dish is going to have to come in and say we're going to charge you $1.99 per line. I don't know how they do it.
50 cents a gig.
50 cents a gig, something. I don't know how they're going to do it, man. I don't know. I mean, they are going to be backed by AT&T for the most part, so they're going to have some scale to the network. The consumer's not going to care what network they're on, or not going to know. They're just going to want to, they're just going to want to use it. So Dish is going to have that type of advantage because they are, until T-Mobile scales, they are going to have a larger network that you can roam on, with AT&T. But other than that, they have no image as a wireless carrier. They're going to have to pay a ton of money for branding. The market is going to have to get on board. They're going to have to get analysts and the shareholders on board. I mean, it's going to be tough. You thought some of these guys are bad on the carriers now and on AT&T stock now. What are they going to say about Dish?
I think the biggest problem is the biggest investor at Dish is Charlie Ergen.
Yes, and he will always be that.
Big shout out to Kevin O'Donovan. Thank you for the super chat. I don't see a comment or a question, but thank you. And then we have a super chat from Teddy again. He's got the fox with the some kind of a sign. What does that say? Another one? What does that say? But thank you for the super chat.
Number one.
Number one. Nu hombre uno. That's French for number one.
So yeah, I don't know what Dish is gonna do, man. I mean, this is looking bad for Dish. I mean, they're losing customers. Tyrone, didn't you mention that they did some numbers for Boost already?
Yeah, they lost 121,000 customers, and the churn is at 5% or 4.8. So rounded up to 5.
It's never going to change.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's
they're
never
shedding.
Gonna change. Yeah,
they're shedding. So,
I mean, we've seen quarters where they lost 300,000 subscribers.
Yes.
250 is the average. 150 is a good quarter because they lose less. Imagine that, Moose. A good quarter is when you lose less.
That reminds me of Sprint.
Right?
They're like, hey, we only lost 58,000 subscribers this quarter. Yeah, go team.
Woo-hoo. We break even 0.
We only lost by 40 this week. Next week, let's try to only lose by 30. God, man.
Yep. See, we don't know what their postpaid agenda looks like, the plans. There is nothing in place right now to stop the bleeding of Boost. I don't know, Sneed. I'm lost.
Big shout out to, is it Eden? Is that right? Eden with this $5 super chat. Off topic, live in Long Island, New York. Watch lots of video. AT&T Unlimited Elite. Should I switch to Verizon Get More? I don't know much about that market per se. We do have a community member who lives there. so I could ask for you. But he does have Verizon, I could tell you that much. And I don't know about the upgrades for C-Man, so not really sure what to tell you there. I don't know. Anybody can comment about the coverage in Long Island. EM Tech with the super chat said Death Star still the GOAT.
Yeah.
Yo, DJ, kick the music.
Oh man, I had to play one. Hold on, let me find it right here. Oh, by the way, we forgot to mention this on the beginning of the stream. One of those fiber customers this last quarter was the SMT corridor.
Oh, snap. One of the million, yeah.
There we go. There we go. Okay.
Big shout out to EM Tech. Thank you for the super chat, and big shout out to Chame also. My comments are being ignored. Just kidding. Oh, come on, man. Try not to ignore you, Chame. I really do.
So yeah, we've accomplished.
The problem is we don't like to highlight. We don't like to highlight the comments where people make a lot of sense. That's not fun. We're looking for the most outlandish and extreme and crazy comments. Like, decrease backhaul on sites. Like, that would be something we could highlight and get with.
Dish wants to be a value service. We have too many already.
Anything else that we got to get to, gents, before we close it out? Anything for the good of the order? Ricky's going live at 9:30.
Yeah.
So for those of you that are looking for a follow-up show, a bit of an after party, RFK Tech USA, if you guys want to go ahead and follow him, subscribe to his channel, support him, watch his videos. He's got a live stream tonight. I'll be hanging out in the live chat as well. I do have work tomorrow, but I will be there hanging out. I don't know if Moose and Tyrone can get there. They might stop by. We'll see. But definitely check that out as he's going live at 9:30 in the PM. So that's about 15 minutes from now at the time of this recording. What's up, Jamie? Anything else for the good of the order, boys?
What do you think, Tyrone? I think the list was good today. It was really good.
The list was good. Exciting weeks. Tomorrow's Friday, but it's been an exciting week. Now we just wait for auction 110, and then we break down those results, and whatever else comes is going to come.
C-band in a week or two?
C-band in a week or two. Apparently, we're getting a launch from AT&T February 5th on C-band, so a little bit late, but it's apparently coming.
All right, here we go. I'll be doing a follow-up video to that, Chame. I'll cover the whole small cell Crown Castle. I got to look at some of the details. I know, Tyrone, you probably did a video today, I think, on it.
Yeah. So just briefly on that, this is nothing out of the ordinary. This 35,000 is not a new plan or anything. That's according to the guidance that they gave at the analyst day. So this is nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah, so we'll take a look at the details of that and see how that kind of lines up, because sometimes they drop these bits and pieces of news like it's something new to the network, but in actuality, it's been planned for like 18 months.
Correct.
So I'll take a look at some of the details and see if there's anything notable. It could just be lip service for all we know. We'll see. We know how they don't really want to do small cells. They want to try to go as macro as possible, which we've already voiced our concerns about that. All right. Anything for the good of the order, boys?
That's it. We're good to go, Sneed.
Big shout out to Tyrone from Tech Life. Can I please, mods, get a link for his channel? Subscribe to him. Watch his videos. We've got a really good connection to our community, so it's good to have him on, and thanks for being a part of the show, Tyrone.
No problem. Appreciate you.
We got Moose. You guys know Moose is riding with us. Big shout out to Moose. Thanks for coming through, bro.
Made when the auction 110 announcements, and we need to do a big analysis. That's going to be the next big stream. All
right. Yep. Hashtag Ravioli Gang for those of you eating during this broadcast. Hashtag Replay Crew if you're watching this on DVR. Hashtag 2Live Crew watching this in the live broadcast. Hashtag Mod Squad for all the wrenches and the blue mods out there. Thank you. Big shout out to everybody who donated with the super chats, everybody in the live chat, everybody that liked the video, that shared it. Thank you guys so much. And I think that's really it. You guys be safe out there. Stay healthy. And wish you all a great new year. We'll see you guys on the next one.